This episode is sponsored by Smart Travel, a new podcast from NerdWallet. You know that one friend who always finds the best travel deals, picks the right cards, and somehow ends up in first class for the price of coach? How do they do that? Well, Smart Travel is like that friend, but in podcast form. They cover all things travel finance, like which travel cards earn their keep and which are just heavy, shiny metal, and planning group trips that won't ruin your budget or your friendships. So travel smarter and spend less. That's the key with help from NerdWallet. Follow Smart Travel wherever you get your podcasts. Armchair Explorer is a part of the Voyescape podcast network. Check out all of their shows from around the world at voyescape.com. So this is going to make sense in a minute. Let's compare wolf howls.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my wolf howl.
I think that's like more Montanan wolf.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for, Jason. Montanan wolf.
That's
Thank you.
not nearly accurate enough, though, because we've got some Colorado wolves now, and they sound like, ow! Something like that.
That was good. So we're opening with Howling Wolves. Howling Wolves. Has anyone called a band that before?
No, I'm going to steal that band name, though, if you haven't already.
Wolves.
Let's put a patent on that one.
Let's do it. Let's start a band. No, wait, Howling Wolf.
Howling Wolf, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll just have to stick to our day job then. Hey guys, welcome to Armchair Explorer. I'm here with producer Jason Paton, lead producer here at Armchair Productions Studios, and we're in our studio here in Louisville, Colorado.
Shout out.
Bo, bo, bo.
Yeah, Charles air horns there.
Air horns, Charles. Thank you. So this is the second of our Pathways episodes, and these episodes, if you missed the first one, this is where we kind of preview what's coming up in the month ahead. So this is our November's Pathway episode, and we're going to play some clips and some little highlights. We're going to talk about some behind-the-scenes moments. A lot of these are trips we did, so we kind of want to fill you in a little bit on that perspective of it. But before we kick off into that, Jason, how's your month been, mate?
My month has been good. I've been working on South Dakota.
All right, come on, fill me in there, because we've been working on this project for a while. It's been really awesome. It's with one of our presenter writers, Brian Thacker.
He's one of my favorite collaborators of ours because he gives such a unique angle on every place we go. He's like the Aussie, just out of his element.
You could just do a whole TV show about an Australian, just put an Aussie anywhere.
Yeah.
See what happens.
And we put him in some really weird environments, whether it's like this historical festival at Fort Susseton, South
I'm so excited
Dakota.
for people to hear that.
Oh, it is. I don't want to give anything away, but just keep your ears open for that one coming up soon.
And also the Badlands, which is somewhere I've always wanted to go, actually. Where did that name come from? The Badlands. Well, how can somewhere so friggin' cool be called the Badlands?
It's just literally not a place that you can grow anything.
Oh, okay.
It is the Badlands. I think it's like native language.
So it literally was called the Badlands, as in a literal...
As in, don't try to grow crops there.
Okay.
But it's beautiful.
And actually just finished an episode about food there too. The best joke I think I've ever heard you tell. Like, Jason, by the way, guys, is meant to be behind the scenes, but occasionally he just pops his head up. He can't help himself.
Wait, which joke was this?
The tomato beer joke.
Oh, I loved this particular
So this woman goes, what are you eating? Chislic?
We're eating chislic. It's the state nosh of South Dakota. It's fried mutton. We're eating this fried chislic, and they say the only thing to wash it down is tomato beer.
So she says, like, you guys are like, tomato beer?
Yeah, what do you put in that? Well, you put in like olives, you put pickles in and stuff like that. And, I'm thinking like, well, that sounds really familiar. And she says, well, it's just like a Bloody Mary.
No, she says, well, it's just like a poor man's Bloody Mary. And you said, well, that's great, because I love Bloody Marys and I'm poor.
So that's what I've been working on. So what have you been working on?
Well, one of my favorite parts of the job actually is just getting to just meet loads of super cool, awesome people. And over the last couple of weeks, and actually coming up into next week, it's been particularly awesome. I spoke with a really cool woman called Becca Hallett. She was in Tokyo when I spoke to her, and we just like...
What is the time difference on Tokyo?
It's like a gazillion. It's a gazillion
Good
hours
Lord.
time difference. But it was awesome. Like Tokyo is one of those... It's like I feel like it's one of the great cities of the world. I really didn't know that much about it. I'm looking forward to sharing that. I've been preparing for a couple of interviews next week. One we're going to speak about later is a hero of mine, author hero of mine called Peter Haller, fantastic writer. And so Peter wrote a book called The River. And if you haven't read that before, it's an awesome book. And he's a fantastic author, but he's also done some crazy stuff. We'll get into that in a minute. But what I've been preparing today that I'm super excited is next week I'm speaking to a travel photographer, filmmaker called Chris Burkhardt. You might have heard of him. He's pretty well known. He's done some amazing work. I've been trying to get him on the show for ages. He has this new film coming out called The Forgotten Coast, which basically he's been going to Iceland for, over a decade, just taking these incredible photographs. A lot of what he does as well is like this aerial photography, and it's like this beautiful, that kind of beautiful abstract aerial photography. I love all that. He does that. He does all sorts of traditional stuff as well, but he kind of wanted to get his feet on the ground. So this story is about him and a couple of his mates on fat bikes, with the big old tires, going like 400 kilometers down these kind of glacial river valleys.
Wow.
There's some deeper sides to it that we'll get into it as well, but it's really just an incredible adventure. He's a really interesting guy. So it's been really fun to prepare that and just to get excited about some of the people that we're speaking to coming up. But the main thing that I've been working on this last week anyway is this project called Living with Wolves. So this is going to be the next adventure episode we do. And the adventure ones, if you guys aren't familiar, are kind of signature episodes where we kind of mix in little bits from me, bits from the guests, lots of music and sound design, and try and just immerse you as much as possible into one incredible experience, expedition journey. And this one, when I heard about this, I was like, that just sounds so amazing. And it's such a relevant story as well. So let's kick off by playing a clip of it now. This is from an episode that's coming up on Thursday, and it's called Living with Wolves.
Wolves have captured our imaginations in so many different ways. For some people, they represent just this otherworldly being. For other people, they are vicious, horrible creatures, the killers of livestock and people. And they're both myths. I mean, wolves are neither demon nor deity. And through our project, we wanted to show people the hidden side of wolves, the social side of wolves, for people to understand them better, because really and truly, they live their lives a lot like we do.
Okay, so I know a little bit more about this than you do, Jason, because we're still in production with this, which is really cool. Yep. You guys are going to hear this in a few days when it comes out, but we're just finishing up now. So this story is basically about two people that spent 6 years living with a pack of wolves. And when I say living, they built a camp and lived with the wolves in that camp, and really were considered kind of part of the pack. And the broader story of that, and that's amazing in itself, of course. It's like, what is that like? But the broader story of it is this idea of, as you heard in that clip, about how wolves are both this iconic species that is, prevalent in so many different myths and legends throughout our culture. And of course, dogs are, descended from wolves, and they're our best friend. They're deeply connected with humans still to this day, but yet they're also viewed as these bloodthirsty, vicious killers.
Yeah, nothing could be further than the truth for my dog, Tucker. He is the opposite of a bloodthirsty killer. If you don't feed him kibble every day, he will just curl up and die happily.
Describe Tucker for everyone first.
Tucker is this gorgeous Irish setter. He's all red hair, big eyes, and just the cutest little gentle dog you've ever met.
Tucker has mastered the puppy eye.
Yeah, that's all he knows.
Yeah, but what's his nickname?
Tuckle.
No.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Tuckle.
I call him Tuckle.
Back it up, Tuck.
Yeah, his nickname is I just say back it up, little Tuck, because all he does is anytime there's a problem, he just backs it up.
Well, he's a little scared, isn't he?
Of just about everything.
Getting back to Living with Wolves, this was an incredible story, and it is a really emotional story at times. It's a really inspiring story, but ultimately it's a really relevant story for today too, because
because in particular here, because where we are recording right now in Colorado is a place where they've been doing wolf reintroduction because humans hunted wolves to extinction. back in the 40s.
Yep.
But like other states, we've been slowly bringing them back, not without its controversy. But the whole idea is that wolves are extremely ecologically important to the environment that they're in.
Yep.
And bringing them back. Just the other day, I read the first annual report on how it's gone.
You're such a nerd.
With wolf reintroduction here in Colorado.
I appreciate you preparing for this.
I think it's so interesting, and the takeaway is really, really cool. One, we didn't have an official wolf pack here in Colorado, even the year after they reintroduced them, until we had a breeding pair of wolves, which happens. We have our first wolf puppy here in Colorado, which, could you imagine something cuter? Honestly.
So this is what this is about, because basically in this story, we meet this pack, and the whole idea is that it's about showing this side to wolves that you never get to see. And that side is how linked they are as a family. Like a wolf pack is truly, truly a family. So that's really interesting that you say that, because it's almost like they don't exist as individuals as much as they exist as a family unit, which is in some ways like really human. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. And then after that, we have our first of our immersion episodes for this month.
Oh, we're taking to the skies.
Heck yeah.
This one, AlUla, we're going to the adventure of the air.
Yep. So if you listen to last month's episode, that was the first in a 3-part series we did about AlUla in Saudi Arabia, which is this kind of like lost city, this incredible place full of heritage. And that's what last month's story was about. And this month's story is about adventure.
It's a little bit different on this one, because last month you've got to give context. You've got to give history to the subjects that we're going to be talking about in Saudi Arabia. But this episode, now that you've got all that kind of established, we're just diving straight into the adventure side of things. So we're going to be taking you up to a precipice right in the beginning of this episode. All I'll say as we lead you into this clip here, as our host here, Aaron, confronts one of the most intimidating beginnings to a trip that he's ever encountered.
We got off the plane 4 hours before this.
And he walked straight up to this.
And walked straight off the plane, literally. Hope you guys enjoy this one. So I am actually dangling 250 feet above a canyon, and I'm about to get dropped, because this is what AlUla is all about. It's got desert treasures, it's got 200,000 years of history, but it's also got adventure, and we're going to start our adventure by going through the air, by flying, by soaring. What better way to start? Are you ready? I don't know, but you're coming with me.
Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Safety off.
Safety off.
Countdown begin. 5.
Here we go.
4.
Let's do this.
3, 2, 1.
And you're going to get to see what happens. And, well, spoiler alert, he lives.
Yeah, I do. Spoiler. I do live. There was a moment there when I thought I didn't live, though.
Yeah, I experienced that moment, too.
I know.
Yeah. But there are so many more adventures of the air that come up in that same episode. Yeah. We take you into the sky itself in the loudest environment that I've ever tried to record in, despite it. I would never have expected this to be a complicated environment, but up in the skies itself is all I'll say for now.
Well, the loudest and the quietest. And, just to like preface that, so I'm going to spoil it. We did a hot air balloon ride.
Yeah.
Right? And I've always wanted to do it. And I think that we did it in one of the most incredible places you could ever do it.
Yeah.
You guys have to listen to hear about that. And what they do in a hot air balloon, of course, is they like have this Bunsen burner.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. And maybe in your imagination, you're thinking it's like, No. This thing is an explosion going off every other second to keep us afloat as they pump more hot air up into the balloon itself.
But what's mad is when it's not going, it is utterly
dead
silent.
To the point that you're hearing sand particles bouncing off the balloon in perfect clarity.
And we're like floating over these like little villages and like waving with the kids.
There's people waving from hundreds of feet below, calling, and we're hearing them perfectly. And then all of a sudden...
Yeah. Oh, God. You just spat my eye.
I'm sorry.
I think you blinded me.
Explosions of spit.
So you guys got to listen to that, and you got to listen to find out what a giggly landing is. I don't want to spoil it, but honestly, I don't think I've ever laughed.
It sounds
so
a lot
hard
cuter than it is
for so long.
It sounds so much cuter than it is.
It was like an extreme thing, but it was also maybe the most I've laughed in my life. So you guys got to listen to that. We also did some amazing things. We went out into the desert and met with a Bedouin to hear about the stars.
Oh, yeah.
That was a beautiful experience.
Yep.
And lots of other cool stuff. And so this episode was about adventure. I think it's one of the most immersive things that you've produced, actually. I think you did an amazing job on that. But there's also this kind of spirit that we were trying to get across of what it felt like to be there in the desert. The desert is this beautifully empty space, and somehow you fill that space with your own imagination and emotion. And that's kind of what the element of air became for us, wasn't it? So yeah, beautiful, beautiful episode. I'm really excited for you guys to hear that. I mentioned earlier in the introduction as well that we're speaking with Peter Heller. At the time of that we're recording this, we've got the interview coming up. Jason and I are both psyched about this.
In a couple days.
Because he's coming in the studio. That doesn't happen very often. And I'm super psyched to speak to him because we get to speak to a lot of people that have done these incredible adventures, and he has done that. He is an incredible, as well as being like a best-selling novelist, he's also this, world record-breaking kayaker and river guide and all these other things. So his novels are really infused with that authenticity of being someone that really understands and gets the outdoors. But he's also, and I didn't know about this until quite recently, he's also done some pretty extreme things in the field of activism and conservation.
Yeah.
So what I'm really, really looking forward to talking to him about is he joined this pirate anti-whaling ship.
I love this. Keep going.
They actually flew a pirate flag. They flew the Jolly Roger. They flew the Jolly Roger flag.
Love it.
I'm glad within all of this they had the time for a sense of humor. But it actually was a very serious thing because these guys had a specially built boat. They actually had like this kind of, I don't know what you call it, like almost like a sword coming out the front of the ship to ram other ships. Because there's a Japanese whaling fleet that goes out to hunt and kill these whales, even though it's illegal. And I guess the guys that do this got sick of just, unfurling banners and posting stuff, and they decided to take it into their own hands in a really extreme way. And they've had a lot of criticism for that, and they've also had a lot of plaudits for that. And you guys can make your own mind up when you hear the story. But I will say that that's a super interesting thing to hear what it's like to be a part of. And that's one of the things I always want to do with this show is like, can I put you guys into the place of someone who's experienced something utterly amazing that you might never ever get to experience yourself? And I think this is one of those things. So he spends 2 months on a literal pirate ship ramming and fighting with a Japanese whaling fleet to protect whales from being killed. So I'm really, really excited for you guys to hang out with Peter. And where are we going now then, Jason?
Yeah, so Palm Springs, California is a refuge of the golden era, the Gilded Age of Hollywood stars. They all had houses there. They all have stories there. And I recently traveled there with Brian Thacker, that same presenter that we were just mentioning earlier. He is a huge fan of this. We're talking a Rat Pack. We're talking Frank Sinatra. We're talking all of those entertainers and Hollywood actors. They all had houses here. We got to go through most of them. We got to see all of their pianos and toilets that had stories.
Wait, toilets have stories?
They certainly do.
if only Frank Sinatra's toilet could talk.
That's exactly what I would have said until I heard the stories of Frank Sinatra's toilet.
Oh my God.
So,
are they number 1 stories or number 2 stories?
Well, I guess you'll just have to listen to the episode to find out.
All right, well, let's listen to this clip to tease us into it anyway.
How much would it cost to stay here a night?
It's about $2,500 a night to stay here.
But imagine doing the whole Frank Sinatra thing back when old Blue Eyes himself lived here.
Back in the days for the cocktail parties, people dressed formally. So they would be in their best attire, tuxes and things like that, walking around with a few high tops, always with a cocktail in hand. The guys, some of them would be over in the far corner there. You see the little outdoor area, seated area. They'd be there possibly smoking cigars, but everybody else would be walking around inside and outside. All these doors, right here, we're in the living room now, all these doors would be open, so it flows. Everybody would be there, and then if it was a warmer day, you'd have people sitting on the side of the pool with their tux pants rolled up, or their women with their shoes off with their feet in the pool. And occasionally I would see somebody being pushed in the pool or falling in the pool.
And is there someone here maybe tinkling on the piano, or do you think
Absolutely,
they're playing
always. Somebody's always in the piano, and there would probably be some people singing. They would relax, and they would party, and they would socialize, and it was all about letting loose and being together. And Frank might have even been cooking in the kitchen because he liked to cook.
So what I found really interesting about this episode is it's not really about contemporary glamour, glitz and celebrity and all that, which is like whatever, but it's really about like going back to that golden age. And there's something that's really, I don't know, romantic about that golden age of Hollywood. And I love the way that you guys were able to tap into that. But my favorite part of the whole episode was that you and Brian had a shag.
We went to the shag house.
Well... What would have Austin Powers said about that?
What could anyone do at the shag house?
All right. Explain it then.
Well, Shag is a artist in residence in Palm Springs.
This is an actual person who's decided to name himself Shag.
An actual person. He says he did it in reference to the carpeting, but I don't. I think he watched Austin Powers like the rest of us and knew what a great name that would be. So yeah, we go to the Shag house. We explore all of that. We also find the most iconic vehicle that could represent Palm Springs and hear that baby rip in the most high-def way possible. And...
yeah, this is an episode for people that want to live vicariously and experience a little bit of what that Rat Pack Gilded era was like.
Yeah.
And Palm Springs is a really cool place for that. I've been a number of times, and you know, if you haven't listened to it before, we did an adventure episode on Palm Springs too, which was really cool, going down to Joshua Tree, and this is a totally different side to that. Definitely go and check that out. A couple of other things we have coming up. So the idea is we're going to do these episodes called bucket lists, and a lot of the time they're going to be things that maybe are already on your bucket list, you know, kayaking with whales or going to incredible places. This is one that will almost definitely not be on your bucket list yet. But it might just be after I tell you this story, and that's why I'm excited for you guys to listen to this episode. It's the first job I ever did. It's the first thing I ever had published.
really?
Yeah, and it is a 100-mile pub crawl.
Where?
So basically, the story behind this is I've been working in the music industry, and I honestly, guys, I got burnt out. I did a whole ton of projects that really didn't work out. I kind of found myself in that place. I was about 30 years old, and I kind of found myself in that place where I'd sort of hyped myself up that this was going to be my future, and then it all came crashing down, and that wasn't my future. And in between those things, I was writing little bits and pieces, but nothing really, you know, big had ever got published. And then I had this, I'd literally just like quit my job, and I had this idea. The national park where I was living at the time, so where I lived, I grew up in Brighton in the south coast of England, and the national park that surrounds it is called the South Downs, but it had only just been declared a national park. So it was turning 1 year old. It was like its first birthday. And crossing the entire national park is this long distance trail called the South Downs Way. And it had been walked for, you know, centuries by pilgrims that would get off the boat in Eastbourne and walk all the way to Winchester Cathedral, by drovers, you know, sheep drovers that would use the high ground to walk their sheep. And there's all these like ancient bits of history dotted throughout. But because it's always been used as a pathway, the other thing that's been built up over the years are these coaching inns, places that people would stop en route on their journey. Pubs, basically.
Bars.
Pubs, not bars. And so there's these fantastic pubs dotted all the way around. And no one had ever thought to do this before. But I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if you could link all the pubs that kind of connected to the South Downs Way and go all the way from Eastbourne to Winchester, 100 miles, and do like the most epic, adventurous, craziest, best pub crawl that has ever been conceived? And the answer was, yes, you can.
And I love it because I'm just a big fan of your opening lines on almost, and to know that this is your first published work just really makes it sink in all the more. But I love this one. I love this. So the opening line of this story: should you ever find yourself walking with only one boot in the middle of the night, the one thing you definitely don't want to read when you open the guidebook is, the path climbs gently through a field of stinging nettles and large piles of cow dung.
Oh my God, this happened. Okay, so the first rule of travel writing is always open with something that's going to grab people's attention. So I decided to open with the worst part of this entire trip. Basically, here's what happened. It's 100 miles, so it's a long way. And I had new boots. Never walk 100 miles with new boots, people. And there was a point in this where I couldn't walk any longer. I had blisters that were crazy, and my foot was like cramping up. And it was getting dark, and I still had 5 miles to the next pub. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I did the only thing I could do. It's February, by the way. I had to do this whole thing in February. Like, it was so wet and rainy that I think even if I wore a submarine, I would have got wet. So I did the only thing I could do to make it to this pub on time. And that was take off my boots and take off one boot. So I was walking one booted for the last 5 miles. And I had my little headlamp, my head torch on, because I couldn't find the path anymore because it's bloody dark. And then I'm staring up this like dark hill, and I've got my guidebook open, and it literally does say exactly that. It says, wind your way through stingy nettles and cow dung until you reach the next fence. That's what you want to read when you're one booted. So I'm excited for you guys to hear that. If for nothing else, I highly recommend you do it. If you've never done 100-mile, if you've never done an extreme pub crawl before, frankly, what have you been doing?
100-mile pub crawl.
Like, I want to start a thing where there's like 100-mile pub crawls all around the world. But anyway, listen to it. If you guys are excited to do something like this again, then email me. There's no other way to do it. I'll tell you how to do it. So just reach out at Armchair Explorer Podcast. Check that out, Jason. That's how you do cross-marketing.
I'll take your word
stuff.
for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of cross-marketing, I'm going to have you cross from one environment into the next right now.
Oh, speaking of like tenuous links.
Where else have you been?
All right. So guys, that is pretty much the month. But guess what? The month of November, if you're listening in America especially, it finishes with Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of the year, Jason. The reason why it's my favorite holiday is threefold. Onefold, you're giving thanks for the things you have. Gratitude for me is like the number one life hack, which I constantly forget and always try to remember. Be grateful for what you have.
Thank you.
Don't start asking for presents. Be grateful for the presents and gifts you already have. But this last thing we're going to share, you weren't with me.
I'm so sad about it, but you had a absolute
legend
G with you on this one.
So my brother, my good friend, Ali Nisbet, he came with me to do the live field recording on this, and we went to Wisconsin. So it's like, if you live abroad, if you don't live in the States, Wisconsin's one of those places that you probably don't know about. It's not on your radar. If you live in our part of the world in the West, Wisconsin is definitely on your radar as a place to go for like lake holidays. It's on the Great Lakes. It's like, it's got all these other kind of cool elements to it. So it's really great to find those places that uncover different aspects of it. So I'm going to leave you with a clip. Let's finish with a clip on this one. This is coming out on Thanksgiving, which, funnily enough, is Ali's birthday.
Oh, that's so appropriate.
Isn't that so appropriate? Yeah. I didn't thought of that before. And this is all about food in Wisconsin. But food, for me, when you travel, if you guys have heard me talk about this before, it's not just about what you eat. It's about the way that what you eat can lead you into these different stories about place. And so what we really found there was the way that, whether it was talking with people from the Oneida Nation, the Native American people, about what corn meant to them and the way they're bringing back traditional foods, whether it was talking with, people that are keeping alive this insane tradition of fish boils. Like, if you've never cooked with a can of gasoline before, you've never lived. And or whether it was just pizza farms, which are two words that should go together that don't go together often enough. It was the story of the state, a story of a place you don't know. But hopefully when you listen to this episode, you're going to come out of it knowing a little bit about the place and with a tummy rumbling and a little bit curious. So we're going to leave you now with a clip from my friend Tony, who is not only the owner and head chef of Stony Acres Pizza Farm, he has also got the nickname of Long Tall Cannonball. Because he's the most enormous, impressive man I've ever met in my life. Anyway, this is Long Tall Cannonball talking about pizza farms and farm-to-table dining in Wisconsin. But happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Happy November. And I hope you enjoy everything that's coming up.
The thing about eating a meal with people is that you share a meal with somebody, it breaks down barriers, because just as a physiological experience, there's food in front of us, there's security. Yeah. So now we don't have to be threatened by each other in a primal understanding of that. But then beer elevates that to the magic of the intoxication of a shared experience, right? And so that is why beer and pizza go well together. Yeah. The primal solving of a human conflict problem and the primal mysticism paired perfectly.
All right, Jason, we got to do the credits piece again.
Are we going to wrap them this time?
No, I think let's do another musical style.
All right.
So what do you think? All right, let's do soul.
Armchair Production!
Because I can't sing. So can I do the
I take
tapping?
issue with that. I think I've heard you sing a few times when you think you're not being judged.
I'm a
you
drummer.
Have a beautiful voice over there.
I'm a drummer. By definition, I can't sing.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2.
Whatever you say.
Limb too many.
All right. You can drum out the credits over there, and I'll say them if you want.
Okay, I'm going to do a Phil Collins drum intro for you.
Armchair Explorer is produced by Armchair Productions, the audio experts of the travel industry. Find out more at armchair-productions.com. I'm Jason Paton. I hosted this along with Aaron Millar, who writes this production here. This was edited by Charles Tyree. And
what's our social media?
At Armchair-Productions.
No!
What's our social media?
At Armchair Explorer Podcast on Instagram. See you guys there.
You heard the drummer. Find it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good one.
Quick question. Do you want travel tips from people who have actually been there?
Our show is co-hosted by Tim Johnson, an award-winning travel journalist who's been to more than 145 countries around the world. And I'm David Brody, the other co-host who's been travel podcasting for 20 years while traveling to 50-plus countries around the world.
In about 10 or 20 minutes per show, we break down a destination with the kind of insight you usually only get from long guidebooks or hours of research.
So if you want expert advice, zero fluff, and travel inspiration that you can actually use, search for Travel in 10 wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can also find us at voyescape.com.
Hi, I'm Pauline Fromer, host of the Fromer's Travel Podcast. We post new episodes weekly, detailing the kinds of money-saving tips and cultural insights that will make your trips richer without making you significantly poorer. We do so by interviewing real travel experts like TV host Samantha Brown, Fromer's authors from around the globe, and such public figures as Free Solo's Alex Honnold. It's a fun travel party. I hope you can join us.